Now, they only plan for staying for about an hour or two, and we're with all the conversation that's been happening, it's been about three. Sir Aaron is convincing them to stay a little bit longer, but they do have Sir Thorpe and Delia and the other individuals that they're traveling with. They do have a time frame to get to. So any other actions that will take an hour or more, you're just running out of time, you know?
Hmm.
So like telling your entire like the entire story of like everything from now to then, I don't think they're gonna have much time for. You know what I mean? You could always try to convince them to stay, but we're getting to the point of the conversation, like almost like you're having a party and things are winding down, but no one wants to explicitly say things are winding down, but you're getting that vibe.
Right.
That's kind of what's going on right now.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
okay, the radio, right. I'm assuming that the radio in the cockpit was more kind of like something that everyone could hear if they were in the cockpit.
When
Uh,
they were uh, at what
okay.
point?
When she was talking to Mariah.
Yes, 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 yep.
Patrick would note that you did to ask for a scientist.
Yes, yes. She says yes. It was the behemoth is, from my understanding, a scientific vessel. So I was just wondering if one of you were so inclined. That's all. Curiosity, you understand.
Well, I know a few things about chemistry and things.
Huh.
I wouldn't
This-
really call myself a scientist, but
No? What would you call yourself then?
hmm, I like explorer more.
Ah, I preferred the term adventurer, but I know exactly what you mean.
If there was a bit less life and death situations, I think I would enjoy adventure a bit more too.
Then you make her laugh.
That's it.
Um, Excellent. Any other questions for Miss Tarn?
Um.
She's had a very pleasant conversation with you folks. For those who were talkative, eyes at Mila or Mariah at this point. But
She
uh,
turned.
of course, I know she turned. That's great. That's all we need. That's all we can get from her, right?
That's great social skills right there.
That she's a blossoming butterfly. Anyway, but I want to before things start to pack up. I want if you guys have any burning questions or anything like that, now's the time.
Al does have something he want to ask her, but it might be something he asks
Oh,
like before they go. So
Okay.
yeah.
oh. Patrick is gonna ask, do you have a copy of your book?
She nods, almost like a defeated nod, and she says, "I'll be right back." And she heads over to the ATV.
Patrick looks excited, like it
Yeah,
is Christmas.
excellent.
Al would I guess look at the Cybernite and say she doesn't seem very proud of her work.
Sir Thorpe replies with, "She is a humble woman. It is one of the reasons why I'm so devoted to her.
Al
Sh-
nods.
If more people were like her, we would be in a much better place." Anyways, and she returns and she sees the look in your eyes, Patrick, and her not disappointed look at all, right? But her um I don't know what to say. Her
Bemused.
humble look actually kind of breaks into if yeah, well, I suppose bemused, not quite, but
Yeah.
her look breaks. Her current look breaks. Your excitement is somewhat contagious to her, right? And She says, "It's my gift to you, but they're just realize one thing. They're just words from one woman, one perspective, you understand. Okay? The only thing special about this book is the letters that are contained in it. Nothing more. Not that as fact it's from me or anything like that. And I have to warn you, do not let the Coalition catch you with this book."
Al laughs. Sorry.
He says, "I understand from an elven perspective, the Coalition would not be treating you with any automatic respect anyway, but there's a difference in their eyes from being a DB and obtaining this."
So signing it wouldn't be in the cards, would it?
Would it make you happy, dear?
I would love to show it to my teacher. I think she would be so excited about it.
She pauses for a moment. She says, "Okay. One more moment." And she goes back. And she retrieves another book from her ATV. And she asks, "What's your teacher's name?"
Oh my gosh, I did not write down her name. Son of a gun. I would know this too.
That's an awesome name.
Son of a gun.
Gun.
Alright. I'm going to briefly look into my notes and make
Okay.
sure that I didn't write
While he
this
does that,
down.
I was going to say,
Perfect.
because Al would actually say that when she says that, Al would say, almost offhandedly, like, if the Coalition finds us, we're dead anyway. I doubt a book would make a difference there.
She gives a somber nod at that.
I think her name was Criana.
Criana? How do you spell that? Actually, Aaron
C-
Tarn would ask that too.
K-R.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just I-A. K-R-I-A.
All right. Crya. Crya. So she signs one for Crya, and she signs one for you, Patrick. And in her book, she says, "There is an old adage that the pen was mightier than the sword, but I believe the brain is even mightier." And with that, you get a big flashback, a big sense of deja vu, and the taste of mushrooms hits your lips. Hits your taste buds for just a fleeting second before it passes.
I remember that.
And she hands you the books, and she says, "My gift from one adventurer to one explorer, and from one old woman to you young pups, I wish you the greatest of luck. Keep me in your prayers. I have a feeling I'll need it."
Patrick is actually kind of like holding the book like he's not even paying attention to it now. He's like, mind is off somewhere else, like trying to like figure out what he's going to do at this point.
Understood.
Currently through his mind, he is trying to figure out if he should note the dream that he had or not. Because it was a dream.
It was a dream.
Not quite sure if she would care that much about a random dream he had.
No,
you know what? He's gonna shake his head and be like, "I have one short story for you." before we depart.
She nods. Okay.
Through our travels, we found some very odd mushrooms, and one of them heals but puts you in a deep sleep with a vivid dream.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one recently. I'm almost positive that you might have been in there.
She says, "Oh my. Are you sure it was me? Are you sure it wasn't someone else? Someone who was a little bit more appropriate?"
It was an odd one. It had a floating gun, a book with a bird on it. He quickly stops and looks at the book to look if there's like a bird on it.
Book with a bird on it. Hmm. She pauses for a moment, and her face was a look of curiosity at your story, but now you have her interest. And Sir Thorpe looks at you with interest as well, and she says, "What color was the bird?"
I think it was in shadow, if I can remember correctly.
I see. Do you know what type of bird it was?
I think it was a mockingbird.
She gives a surprised laugh. The book isn't To Kill a Mockingbird, is it?
Patrick sits there for a second. That could be it.
That's
Now
how
that
I
he thinks
learned.
about it.
That's how I learned to read, young man. I learned to read. My father taught me how to read, and that was the first book I ever read from front to back.
I have a copy of it. That was one of the books that my teacher gave me.
Interesting.
It's the only gift. Books are kind of precious to her, so
She
told me
gives a. Hmm. Sorry, Erin Taryn gives a bit of a smile, and she says, "That's interesting. I always believed in making my own fate, but it appears that there are higher purposes, higher reasons for all of this. It's too much to be a coincidence, don't you think, Sir Thorpe?" And he nods. He goes, "Very interesting. I suppose this was meant to be, not just a random happenstance on the road." "Maybe," he says. And he gives a bit of a smile.
It's
What?
Patrick is just unsure what to do with the situation.
Okay.
This
I'm
is
gonna leave
to
you
him
befuddled then.
it's like he's met Santa, and Santa's like, "I am your father." He's like, "I don't even know how to deal with this shit."
All right, cool. So Patrick is speechless. That's good. That's good. They're about winding up to go. So Al, you said any last words for the PCs? We'll just say. How about we do that? We'll open it up to everyone.
Yeah, one last thing. Al would say, and he's just been holding off, but he comes to me and he says, "You said that sometimes you think on what the coalition could have been.
Mm-hmm.
My entire life, like every other citizen of the coalition, I was told stories about DBs and you and everyone else like you
Okay, go ahead.
that were misguided. But the people I grew up around and trained with and worked with for so long believed them so deeply. If in my time since I left the coalition I've realized how wrong they are, but how do I convince them? How do I change their minds of something that they believe so strongly?"
When the first part of your sentence, you see Aaron Farn is incredibly confused. She opens her mouth to question a few things. Perhaps she questions how an elf could ever be a member of the coalition or the friends of that. But she lets you finish. And she realizes the heart of it of your question isn't the first part, it's the second part. So she simply says, I'm going to tell you the same thing my mother told me, and something I will take to my grave. You combat bad ideas with good ideas, and you trust that in time, people will recognize a good idea for what it is. There will always be evil people who want to censor those ideas. There will always be individuals who will try to cloud the issue, say things are relative, but it's not. There is right and there is wrong, and good ideas trump bad ideas. Equality is a good idea. Equality for all beings, not just humans. We teach, we let people know our ideas, and the truth will spring forth, whatever it might be. But you know what they're really afraid of, Al? They're afraid of everyone knowing and deciding for themselves. That's what the pro-sex are afraid of. And they're not going to win. Not if we keep doing what we're doing.
Al will nod and think about what he says and kind of scratch his ear, and then seeing the point, like his eyes shoot up, he goes, "Oh, wait." And then he'll just kind of grin and say, "Well, I guess we all have our stories."
She nods. We do?
And then
Let's go tell them.
he'll smile and nod and leave her to be.
Okay. Any other parting words for the rest of the gang?
I'll just say safe travels.
She wishes you the same, as does Lord Sir Thorpe. And before you know it, they get on to Erin herself gets on top of a painted white and brown steed, while the other individuals of her entourage get into their motorcycles. Lord Kaoke gets onto his own robot, his own horse itself, which now that you're much closer, you've realized was a robotic horse. And the small caravan of travelers continue to head east towards Ipshaming, towards their next adventure, leaving you back towards your behemoth, back to where you want to venture next. So, where do you guys want to go?
Well, after we had that encounter,
Mhm.
our
Mariah's in a
behemoth is
tree.
now.
Mariah's in a tree? Okay.
We need to get
Ooh.
Mariah down.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a second.
Uh-oh.
Roll me a D100.
Or 100 D1s.
Yep. I'm going to say that probability's close enough. Mariah, when you're up in the tree, you see a carving up on one of the branches, on the trunk, up on the branch where you are. Up on the side, it looks like someone carved it with a knife. Very, very strange. It looks like a circle with tiny little pocks, almost like they're shaping out like a berry or a planet or something like that. It was whittled, I don't know, relatively recently.
Mariah climbs back down and goes up to Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick? 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 Patrick?
Yes. I was saying yes every single time that you went Patrick.
He was muted. I thought he was just still stunned. Just Patrick slightly
Yeah,
drooling.
what?
Patrick, may
Yes?
I use your camera?
Be careful.
Patrick?
uh, yes.
May I use your camera?
Be careful with it. Hold on. And he's going to going to take off his backpack and
Mhm.
going to rummage around to make sure there's some room for the book to slide in, and then take out his camera, stops before handing it to her, checks to see which camera it is. It's not the taser one. Gives her the camera.
Okay, that's important.
Mariah looks at it, runs up to the tree, looks at her hands,
Uh-huh.
she's holding the camera and looks at the tree, looks at her hands again,
Uh-huh.
sticks the camera down her shirt and climbs the tree.
Okay. Roll
then-
me, do a climb check for me.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, you're up. Yeah, you're up the tree. Okay, you get up to the
Patrick
branch.
is going to go under the tree and
Uh-huh.
slightly reminisce about the cat thing and hoping that he doesn't need to catch her again.
Okay, well, yeah, fingers crossed.
Mariah pulls out the camera, looks at it, kind of twists it around, not sure which end she should look through. Looks down at Patrick.
Patrick is going to say arise, and how far up is she?
Oh, I'd say a solid 20 feet.
He's going to actually okay. He's going to be actually right next to you, because I can float off the ground 18 feet, and I actually have a length to my body, so yes, I would.
There you go. All right.
Mariah
Uh,
stares. She looks and she points at the thing that was carved into the tree, and she says, "Well, this point seems mute. I was taking the picture to show you.
Oh.
What is this?"
And he's going to turn on his headlight and going to see what's on the tree. 'Cause I'm assuming it is nighttime at this point.
Sure. Do you have astrology or astronomy or anything like
I
that?
think I do. Hold on, let me
Well,
check.
do it. Check.
Yeah, I have astronomy. Okay, cool.
Roll it.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I've pulled this out ever yet. There you go.
Wow. It takes you a few minutes to realize this because the context is strange, but that's a really good etching of a planet. Mercury, of all things.
All right. And then he'll go, I think it's supposed to be a planet. It's called Mercury.
Oh. All right. Patrick,
Yes?
can you move? I want to climb down now.
Oh, excuse me. And he'll float off to the side and then down.
She'll shimmy down the tree. And I
Okay.
guess that's it. Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Am I good to continue things on a narrative path with you guys? Or do you? Yep. Okay. So, the later on that day, you took a bit of a break, spending a good 3 hours speaking with Miss Arentarn. But you managed, as the sun is setting itself, you do manage to get to the lake that you earlier on identified that you're traveling towards, right? I'm willing to say that you are able to pack up the ATVs, your vehicles, getting everything that you need, aka I'm going to allow you to take whatever you need to take, right? With you. And after disembarking everything from the behemoth with a little bit of radio guidance from perhaps Al would be a little bit better as the instructions than Mariah at this point. But Pamela is able to guide the behemoth down under the water towards the lake bed. She's able to radio back through. It's a little staticky, but it's still, you can still hear her voice fine enough, which states that there didn't seem to be any problems and that she's going to make herself comfortable down here and to come back. If you don't come back in 2 weeks, she'll leave. Or something like that. I don't know how you guys are going to figure that out, right? But you, at that point, you would have come up with a contingency plan or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Suffice to say, I just want to get the behemoth in the lake and you guys on your way, if that's fine by you.
Yes. I think we can, at a session, maybe think up a contingency plan. That might be fun.
Sure, that's fine. And we can retroactively apply it. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I guess the question now is that now that you're at this lake, which, let's go back to our map. Now that you're here, approximately which direction are you guys going to head now? In search for this fellow.
Well, if I remember correctly, Miss Tarn said that...
You did remember correctly.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was so afraid that all this other stuff clouded what she mentioned. So please continue.
He forgets he's an elf, but he can remember this at least. That he went east I guess east or west a little bit. I think it was east and then south. So basically southwards.
Okay. All right. Once again, more meta-narrative stuff. Everyone roll me a D100, please.
Woo!
Now, you guys travel for another solid day or so. And it isn't until it's getting late in the evening, when you guys are probably thinking of stopping down the behemoth, where you notice a rocky outcropping. Not very large. Only about 5 feet tall, about 3 feet wide. It looks like just a jut of bedrock just sticking up from the earth. A natural formation. But on it seems to be some sort of strange symbol. What you have first assume is a symbol. It's a almost perfect circle with these little tiny pockmarks on it, almost like little tiny craters or something like that. Very, very detailed, very intricate. And it seemed to have been made with some sort of juice or jam. You're not too sure what. It's not, you're the first to spot it, of course. And I think it would be fair to say that since it's so large and clear, that others would soon notice it as well. Fair enough to say?
And if not, I would probably point it out because that is
You
kind
point
of
it out.
odd. Yeah.
Okay. And Mariah would recognize the symbol as the same thing that was etched. And Patrick would recognize that as an even more intricate illustration of the planet Mercury. But you soon are able to settle down and camp for the night. But as you, because you're not in your behemoth for the first time in quite some time, you settle down for camp. Of course, getting out your camping gear from your vehicles and everything like that. And as you settle, you Mariah, you have
Yeah.
heightened senses.
Yeah.
You have a very good sense of smell, and you smell a pungent smell of garlic wafting to the east of you, probably about 50 feet or so.
Mariah, I guess, will stand up and look around,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Roll me D100.
where's the tab I need? That's the tab. Boop.
Nice.
A glimmer of moonlight. Sorry, a glimmer of the setting sun, not moonlight. A glimmer of the setting sun reflects against something metal that's high up in a tree. Approximately 45 feet away from you. You're the only ones who seem to have noticed it so far. Very subtle.
Mariah will go to the tree and attempt to climb it. Walking casually
Climb-
the entire
Sure.
way.
All right. Yeah, you guys see Mariah. She goes up to climb the tree. It's not a very difficult tree. There's many branches sticking this way and that she's able to find a foothold just fine. You crawl up to the 5th branch, and there, sitting cross-legged, perfectly balanced on the branch, is an elderly man. He is dressed in what seems to be homemade armor. Armor that is a patchwork of beast hides, mega damaged plating, so highly synthetic polymers and impact metals. A complete hodgepodge. He wears no helmet, but around his neck, like a necklace, are cloves and cloves of garlic together on a single twined string. This man is 80 years old if he's a day, face filled with wrinkles, and his pale blue eyes peer at you. He has small gray wisps of hair still clinging to his scalp, thin white strands that clearly show mind over matter implants embedded in his skull. And he looks to you calmly, and he says, "Good evening."
Hello.
You found me.
You knew I was looking?
No. But you found me. Impressive.
You smell.
Yes, I do. You smell too, but of something different.
Mariah actually lifts up her arm and like kind of sniffs her armpit.
No, not a human smell. Something made. Something synthetic. That is fine. I don't care how you smell. Sorry, go ahead, Criana.
Mariah will look around a little bit and just kind of stare at him, actually. just watch him.
He stares at you, carefully, his eyes very calmly peering into your own. Not confused, not concerned. Very relaxed, very serene, as this is what it was meant to be. He rarely blinks, but it is not a competition to him. Guys, Mariah's been up at a tree for a few minutes, and you are hearing murmured voices. Not only Mariah's, but also a masculine one.
I would like to go investigate.
Okay. Anyone else investigating?
Al would We kind of glossed over this, but Al would, since
Yeah.
we're traveling out, would be in the Titan armor. He'd probably just kind of hover up there.
Okay.
Assuming the tree are not thick enough that would be impossible.
No, I wouldn't say it's too thick.
Yeah, he'd kind of just hover up there and to see what's going on.
Okay. Patrick?
Well, it seems like my friends are going that way. I guess I'll just walk in that direction and see what happens.
All right. So each of you, Patrick would be the last to spot this. Probably Al would be the first because the whole flying thing. But you see this elderly man and Mariah sitting in a tree just staring at each other.
Hello?
He breaks his gaze and looks over to the flying individual. And he says, "Hello. Do you mind? Those jet engines makes it hard to concentrate. Do you mind floating back down?" And which is interesting because the jet engines, as far as power armor goes, don't run very loud.
Okay. Are there any branches big enough for Al to just kind of sit down on?
You are 300 pounds. They will all snap.
Got it. Al.
Hi.
Before he goes, he'll say to Mariah, "Mariah, are you okay?"
Mariah, of course. He says.
Mariah doesn't really acknowledge what Al said, and she'll stare at the old man and say, "What all do you hear?"
He gives a small smile that creases his lips. He says, "I hear over the sounds of those jets. I hear the wind whisper through the air. I hear crickets and birds. I hear your heartbeat. And I can block it all out. I hear nothing but what I want to hear. It's listening that's the tricky part."
Mariah
No,
actually
what-
looks very. Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Okay, he was
I
just
was
saying.
gonna
No,
No,
you go first.
She just looks thoughtful. That statement alone, like it makes a lot of
Mhm.
sense to her,
Al's
but
going
not at all.
to very quietly float back down, not sure what to make of this. And he's going to get back down to the ground and then get to where he can keep his eye on them if possible, but he's on the ground. He's not disturbing.
At this point, Bear is at the bottom of the tree looking up as well, extremely concerned. And the old man takes a look down and he says, he gives a bit of a shrug to you. And he jumps off. He jumps off a 30-foot height. And he lands on the ground like a cat. With a single fluid roll, he stands up completely unharmed. And he looks up at you, curiously, Mariah, to see what you will do.
She follows him.
Okay. Roll me, you have, don't you have like a gymnastics, like a cartwheel or a...
Let me see what it is exactly.
Dig that up.
Sense of balance, walk on a tightrope, climb rope, or backflip.
Let's do a sense of balance.
Okay, so that's 95. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so really good. Okay, so you got that. So you managed to get your balance as you drop. And now I believe like it's in the combat section, but you have like a roll with punch or something like that, like where you physically roll. So I want you to roll a 1d20, add that like little roll pull bonus. It's like roll with
Sure.
punch, pull with punch. It'd be like
Oh,
rolling
yeah.
with something.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
it'd be
yeah.
like rolling with the impact, right? Rolling
Yeah.
with the impact of the ground. So yeah, go ahead and roll that.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Oh yeah. Wow. Plus 11. Yep.
Yeah.
You succeed. And you also roll upon the ground up towards him. He looks at everyone around carefully. And he reaches out a hand, stretches out and moves towards you, Mariah, and it's hovering near your head. At this point, Bear steps up next to you and watches him very carefully and watches you very carefully. His hands are floating near his swords, but he's not withdrawing them or anything like that. And finally, the old man, 2 fingers go to your head, and they find just a single strand of hair on your wig. Are you okay with allowing all this to happen so far?
Yeah, if anything, she would hold up her hand to Bear, but she's keeping like her eyes like locked with this old dude.
Okay. That's enough to calm Bear down a little bit, right? And taking a single strand of that hair, he starts pulling it upwards until your wig starts moving from your head. And if you allow it, he will be pulling the wig completely off of you, off of your head, and dropping it on the ground, discarding it. And looking at your shaved or very closely cut head, he says, "There. That is much better. Don't you think?"
I'm not certain.
That's too bad. You should be certain, but that's not your fault. It's something you just have to learn. Maybe.
How does one learn?
Well, that's a question. He looks around to everybody and he says, "It's clear you have no interest to harm an old man, which is wise. For Eloch is no regular man. I have ascended, and it looks like Mercury has finally given me the proper motivation to do so."
I was having flashbacks to another crazy he met that might have been a bit more eccentric, but sounded oddly similar.
Yeah. Yeah, the cosmic voice or something like that?
Like
Cosmic whip,
whip.
There's a
bitch!
cosmic
Whip.
whip.
Cosmic
Yeah,
whip.
like okay,
Get it
the
right.
idea is, and this is what I would be thinking. This guy
Yeah,
sounds
tell me.
like he's in control and he's sane, but he's saying things that sound a lot like the other guy.
Works
So,
for me.
Yeah.
All right. So how do you learn? He asks. Well, open up your mouth, he says, which makes Bear, again, a little worried. Does Mariah do so?
Mariah will open up her mouth.
Okay.
Criana's concerned, but Mariah will.
She opens up her mouth and he brings his hand and he puts them on the sides of her cheeks. And he tilts your head back a little bit so he can look into your mouth. He goes, now say ah. Okay. And he encourages your head to go face forward towards him again. And in the fading light of the setting sun, he looks at your eyes and he brings his fingers very close to your eyes, in fact, and actually prying them open from up and below so he can take a real good look at your pupils and the entire eyeball. Do you allow it?
Yeah.
He goes, ah. And he tilts your head to the side and turns a little bit so he can look in your ears. And he goes, Exhale onto my face, he says.
She will do so.
He takes a deep breath in, this old prune-faced man, and he goes, You're on something.
She nods.
Show me.
I guess, would she have the medication on her?
Yeah, she would. I think it would be fair to say she would.
Okay, yeah, then she'll show him.
He reaches out his hand as if he's asking for them. And he does so with his eyes, but not with his voice.
She will, locked eyes still, hand him the medication.
He takes the medication in his hand. He starts walking over to the fire that Bear made. And, unless he's stopped, he throws them in the fire.
She won't stop him.
Okay, Bear gives...
Hold it.
Oh boy. Bear's
I-
giving... Oh,
wait.
sorry, go ahead.
As they are falling, I want to extinguish it.
As it extinguishes... Yeah, so at this point, when he's moving on the fire and he drops it, Bear is getting that jittery, excited, like... The best way to explain this is... Remember when he was really upset outside the medical bay and his lips were twitching a little bit and it looked like his body wanted to go 5 different directions and he didn't know what to do?
Yeah.
That's happening again. But as the flames extinguish and they fall on the ground, Eloch takes a look around.
Mariah points at Tom.
Thanks for outing me, Mariah.
And he looks to Tom and he says, Mind tricks. Please. Light it again.
Are you sure that she will be fine without those?
I will assure you that she will not be fine if she takes another single one.
Okay. And then I will firebolt them.
Okay. At this point, Bear would say, What are we doing? This man has the same things Nora has. He might be just as... and he's searching for the words. Ill.
Patrick is actually going to wave Bear's attention, knowing that both of them seem to have keen senses. It's not really something that he can just kind of walk over to the side and talk to him privately, so he's just going to talk openly. It's fine.
Yep. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, do it.
Knowing the general how mind implants work,
Mm-hmm.
it is extremely interesting to me how aged this man is.
True. You go, and Bear will be like, what does his age matter?
Usually their lifespans are in the single digits. This man has lived a long life.
Is this so?
Mhm.
You said this is in the open, so we can all
Open,
hear?
yep.
All right.
Yep.
Al would say to Bear as well, I've met others that were more advanced than Nora and far younger than this gentleman. And he is much more aware of himself than they ever were.
Your words are enough to calm Bear's inquiries for now. And he is content with watching like the rest of you. and not acting upon any sort of impulse. During this time, the man who called himself Elock would... he is actually right now picking what seems to be certain stemmed leaves. And he's bunching them up into his palm, and he pushes them in his mouth, and he chews on them for a little bit, and he spits it back out into his palm. Running his tongue along his lips, he reaches his hand out with that chewed wad of leaves to Mariah, and he says, "Here, suck on these for about 30 minutes. Then urinate. You will be clean of toxins, and then, maybe, we'll start. I'll at least answer more of your questions. No guarantees. I have to make sure you're the right M. You understand?"
Mariah will take the wad, stuff it in her mouth, and sit down and pretzel leg and just focus on sucking.
Hey-oh! All right,
You know,
I understand.
wink.
I know what you mean. Thanks, Criana.
Ha ha!
So, of course, guys, I'm going to give you plenty of time to interact with Elock, but just let you know what he's doing in the meantime, if anyone chooses to speak with him. Is at this point, he actually disappears for just a few minutes and reemerges. And this time he has a metal pot nearby, along with quite a few. It seems to be like a leather satchel. Leather satchel over one arm, and a metal kettle that looks like it has seen many, many uses in his right hand. And he's moving back towards the fire. And he'll look again to Tom and says, "Now light it completely."
I'll light it.
Okay. And it's clear at this point he is starting to preparing some sort of tea, in which I will go into details a little bit later on. But right now he's making proper preparations. Now I'm going to put it in your court as far as questions or interactions with yourselves or the NPC.
I suppose Al would, as calmly as he can, like sitting down, because what else is he going to do, would say, "It's clear that you're trying to help our friend, but why?"
She's been given a gift, like me. Something you will never understand. But it is something of great importance. So many people who are blessed fumble around blindly and lose themselves. Maybe this one, if my gut is right, might be spared of such a fate. We're going to take a few steps, and I'm going to see if she stumbles. If she doesn't, then maybe.
Al, hearing something that gives him a seed of hope for the first time in a long time, says absolutely nothing for fear that he might screw it all up for Mariah.
Alright, while that is going on, Patrick is actually going to be going to Mariah. He's going to kneel down and I know you can't talk at the moment, but may I have my camera back?
Mariah, like, you can see her swishing the chewed up stuff in her mouth, and she looks at you, and then looks at her shirt and kind of like reaches down and then like fumbles around a bit, and then pulls her shirt forward and looks down in it, and then stares, and then puts her shirt back to her chest and looks at Patrick. And if you're willing, there will be a thought sent to your brain. I don't know if you have anything to deflect it or whatever.
If you accept it, you don't have to worry about it. If you don't want to accept it, you roll a saving throw versus psionics.
I will accept it.
Okay.
I think I dropped it.
Ha! That's hilarious. Oh boy.
It's probably somewhere nearby, but yeah, she doesn't have it on her. Just fell out. She was so focused on jumping off the tree.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else, guys?
Well, you know what Patrick's going to be doing for the rest of the time.
So roll me a D100. You search for half an hour. It's getting kind of dark. I know you have a flashlight, but you're kind of looking around the tree. You haven't found it just yet. I'm doing this in half-hour chunks, homie. So
okay.
You'll have to try again later. But so you're searching for your camera, and you can't find it just yet. It's not on the ground. You know that for sure. Not on the ground nearby, at least. Not where she's been. Pretty sure where she's been. But the half hour passes, and after Mariah does what needs to be done, it looks like Eloch is ready to prepare his tea, and he takes out. For those of you who have botany, you would recognize it as lemon balm leaves, and he's adding that to the teapot. Then he takes out from his patch, those with botany, something called Lily of the Valley. And that causes Bear to be very interested. He had been looking from Eloch to Nora to everyone else, but now his eyes are completely on Eloch and this tea that he's preparing with. It looks like, with the addition of a few other small additions, some bark, and surprisingly enough, some earth from underneath his own foot, a tea is being prepared. And after that, he pulls out a wooden cup from that leather satchel that he has. He pours the tea into the cup. He goes over to Mariah, and he raises it up to her, and he says, "Drink." And Bear shouts, "No! That is poison. He put a poisonous herb, a poisonous flower in that tea. Do not drink it, Nora. Stay away from her." And Bear is moving aggressively towards Eloch. What do you guys want to do?
Oh, gosh. Al is very concerned. He'll get in between Bear and Eloch, but he's not sure himself what side he's on.
Okay.
And he'll look to Eloch and say, "Is he right?"
Yeah, what's up?
Mariah takes it and drinks it.
Yeah, I thought so.
Oh, no!
I thought so.
No, Bear
Tom?
is very upset. All right, so go ahead.
Tom is also making motions like he's getting up and he's going to stop Bear if he does anything.
Bear is kind of beside himself. He's repeating, "No, Nora, you'll die." And he's not making any aggressive moves towards Nora or Eloch at this point. In fact, he's moving off towards the hedges, and he's you can hear him muttering to himself, trying to find something to make her induce to vomit. All right? And Eloch answers Al's question with, "If you were to drink it, you would die. But we are not you."
This would be a question for the GM. Because
Yo.
I don't really
Hey, that's
know.
me.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
shit.
I don't really know how much Al knows about crazies. Would he know if they have any sort of poison resistance whatsoever?
Mind over matter implants do affect the body. It is you don't know for certain because you're not a cyberdoc,
Right.
but it is fair enough for you to infer that you have seen and demonstrated and know that her super healing capacity probably also implies that her immune system and toxicity levels might also be positively affected by the mind over matter implants, but you don't know for absolute certain.
Right.
But it
I
can
tell
be
you what you do
inferred.
know.
Hmm?
You do know that she got freaking absolutely shot up
Right.
with bullets.
That's what I was thinking. My
You also know
worry.
she ate those poison berries that she told you to eat, and she just got a bellyache.
That is true too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Al would think about that, and he'd still be very, very nervous, but he's not going to intervene. He's just going to be hovering nearby.
Okay.
Wait, not actually hovering. I should probably point that out when giving what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Elok looks to Mariah as she drinks it, and he says, "Good. Now, away from distractions, you and I are going to have a very important revelation." And with that, he motions for her to step a good 100 feet away from the campfire, from the camp itself. And he doesn't ask, he instructs for the rest of you um, to stay behind and to not follow. It's up to you to comply, but Bear's not interested in that. He instead is coming up. He is hastily coming up with another berry, actually very similar. The little red berries that actually birds normally eat. It would make a human being sick. It probably would induce vomiting. And he's running up towards Nora, and he's practically insisting that she eats these berries right now so she can vomit because she's gonna die. What do you guys do?
Al would actually look straight to Milanor and Noriah and say, "Is this what you want? Do we follow what this man says?"
Mariah will look at Al, actually, kind of ignoring Bear ever so slightly.
Mm-hmm.
But her attention's on Al, and just say, I've died once before. I'm not afraid to do it again.
Al will look straight at her and he'll nod and he'll say, "How about we just keep it at once?" And then he'll try and get in between her and Bear.
Bear is still pretty insistent, and Bear's pretty big, Al. You're literally going to have to wrestle him if you're going to have any sort of attempt, although you are in power armor.
He is going to try and talk to him too, that I don't know how effective that would be. So.
Well, yeah, give it a shot. You never know, right?
Al's going to, as calmly as he can, struggling, he's going to say, "Bear, I have seen her be riddled with bullets and stand up. I've seen her eat poison and only get a tummy ache. This will not kill her. We don't know how to help her. You don't, I don't, he does."
Roll me, that little convince roll, that trust.
Alright.
Go Al, go Al, come on. You can do it.
Rah, he's our man. If he can't do it, Bear will probably get more pissed.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's true.
Bear will probably get more.
I succeeded by 8.
Okay.
Oof.
It's enough to calm him down a little bit. And instead of his aggressive insistence, he just gives a final weak attempt of his hands for Mariah to take the berries. Does she?
She won't take the berries, but she'll kind of grab his arm and very gently, just give it a light squeeze and then let go and walk with the old dude.
Okay. And as they walk away, Elok says out into the distance, "Love is like a warm blanket, comforting, but you can still smother someone with it." And with that, Bear drops the berries onto the ground. And he looks... You've had some chats with him, and he's had tears in his eyes, he's been despondent, but he looks defeated as he shuffles over to the fire. And for this period of time, he doesn't talk to anyone. But Mariah, you are led off back towards that rock that Al spotted, the one with the picture of Mercury that was put on there with some sort of juice or jam. And Elok says, "Sit upon the rock."
She will do so.
And he stands in front of you so that the sun is at your back. At this point, the sun is practically completely set, and the stars start to dance across the sky. And he says, "Close your eyes."
She does
First, mantra. Repeat after me.
Repeat
There
after
is
me.
He pauses for a moment. You have your eyes closed, so you can't see what his face looks like. But he says, "There is an answer in a question.
There is
This
an
is-
answer and a question.
There is hope within despair.
There is hope within despair.
There is beauty in a failure.
There is beauty in a failure.
There are depths beyond compare.
There are depths beyond compare.
Open your eyes."
Open my eyes. She will open her eyes.
You can stop repeating.
Very well.
Look up.
She looks up.
What do you see?
The sky.
Yes. Go on.
And the stars.
Yes. Within those stars are other stars. And as you can see, there is one that shimmers slightly different. For it is not a star. It is the reflection of a planet. A body called Mercury. That is why you are here. Mercury represents the mind and of memory. Look at me, he says.
Okay, she does so.
Now close your eyes.
She does so.
Now look within. Who are you?
I am Nora.
He pauses for a moment, as if he is not happy with your answer. Ask me who I am.
Who are you?
I was once Eric. I was once Lancet. I was once Orem. I was once Kevin. I am all of them, and I am none of them. I am Elok. Who are you?
I'm not sure how to respond.
Good. Because if you knew how to respond, you would have been enlightened. but you are not. First lesson. You are everything you are supposed to be, and you are nothing that you are not. In your mind, there are compartments. But when we are done, all of those will be broken free. You will be everything you are meant to be. Do you believe that you can do this?
No.
Why not?
She's kind of thinking for a moment before she says, I do not know how.
Good. That will be our second lesson. Tomorrow. And with that, I think I'll end the session. If that works for you guys.
GM saying?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the GM.
And now I
That's the
think
GM
I'll
saying it.
end
Okay.
the session.
Do I think that's reasonable? Yes. Do I want the session to end? No.
It doesn't have to.
No.
It doesn't have
It's
to.
fine. It's fine. I want to.
I thought it was
okay.
kind of poetic. I just thought it was poetic. You know what I mean?
Right.
I thought that was kind of fun. But
Oh,
I
no,
can
no,
keep
I'm-
going if you
I-
really want.
No. I would want to keep going until we know if she's okay, and I don't think that's going to happen in the next 10 minutes. So
We
Nope.
start the next session.
He's not gonna fix
Daniela
crazy in 10
dies
minutes.
from
The poison finally gets to her.
and Bear kills us all.
Oh my god. Hey guys, we
Bear will
get to
kill
try a
you,
new
asshole.
initiative. And
We're
Cam
down
gets a
to-
free behemoth.
Hey, there's more rooms for you to.
We don't need to worry about keeping track of our items anymore.
Yeah.
Yay.
Cool.
We're dead. Woo! On to the next campaign.
Yeah, there we go.
Riffs.
That's the spirit. Are you still recording this? Patrick, roll a D100.
Uh,
You find your camera. The end.